Welcome back to our Geographics. Last time we've seen even more of the volcanic regions and went into the coldest area on this island, the so-called Murder Snow. During that we've seen some very interesting creatures, but today we will take a closer look at the giant canyon area which is in the center of this island. In the higher regions of the canyon are only creatures capable of flight, or at least creatures that can climb. One of the flyers that live here is the giant pterodactyl known as Quetzalcoatlus. We've already seen his more aggressive relative in episode 4. Although it is one of the biggest creatures capable of flight, Quetzalcoatlus is not much of a fighter, nor an aggressive predator. You don't see an Quetzalcoatlus on the ground that often. He lands when he needs food, and when he lands, he usually feeds on very small creatures such as dodos, dilos, or raptors. The Quetzalcoatlus is just too slow and is not agile enough to actually hunt creatures which can fly as well. Even though he is one of the biggest flying creatures, he is very slow compared to some other flyers. But he can stay in the air for a long time, way longer than some other pterodactyls. The Quetzalcoatlus prefers to breed in or near the canyon because they need to lay their eggs at high spots where no carnivore can reach them. But even some of the highest mountains aren't safe enough for those giants, and that's why Quetzalcoatlus prefers to build the nests on top of the massive stone pillars which are inside of the canyon. As soon as a male impregnated a female, the male has to build a nest made out of different materials such as wood, fiber, thatch, or even hide. After that, the female will lay her eggs inside of the nest, and both parents will wait until the baby is hatched. A couple of Quetzalcoatlus will stay together for a lifetime. Let's go down to the bottom of the canyon. Down here are way more creatures, not only inside the water, but also on land. If we go into the deep water inside of this canyon, we can find a true behemoth of the freshwater, the largest freshwater fish that ever lived. This giant is known by the name Rhizodus. Rhizodus is an equivalent to a prehistoric armored snakehead, very aggressive, powerful, with thick, durable armor. This aggressive fish can hunt whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Similar to the snakehead we have on Earth, this fish can drag itself out of the water and flop around. Rhizodus usually uses this ability to go over to another river. Thanks to his strong needle-like teeth and powerful jaw, he can easily pierce through skin and armor. And this bite will leave a bleeding wound on its prey, draining its health and weakening the mobility of its prey. Thanks to its thick hide, the Rhizodus is immune towards bleeding, venom, and even electrocution. Another big carnivore that lives here is none other than Spinosaurus aqua religia. Spinosaurus is one carnivore that can match the Tyrannosaurus rex in size, but not in raw power. Although it is weaker than T-Rex, it can attack way faster with its sharp teeth and massive claws. Spinosaurus' 4 legs and tail make it fairly swifty on land and incredible fast in water. Spinosaurus has the ability to change its stances from quadrupedal to bipedal. The creature is distinguished by the massive sail on its back. It seems that Spinosaurus feels more at home near water than away from it. Although the creature is more powerful, faster, and agile while in water, it tends to become less hostile as it gets further away from it. Although Spinosaurus can kill bigger herbivores such as the Stegosaurus or the Diplodocus, he prefers fish meat over regular meat. his sharp claws allowing him to impale the bigger fish of the rivers and lakes, especially the bigger specimen of saber-toothed salmon, or the giant catfish. But it's rarely seen that the Spinosaurus attacks and kills a Rhizodus. If we go even deeper into the canyon, we can clearly see that the rivers continue. Although we thought that the Rhizodus is the biggest fish that lives here, we were wrong. In this canyon lives another giant fish-like creature, the Geographics. Geographics is a piscine wyvern, also known as fish wyvern. This wyvern inhabits the fresh water of this island. Geographics resembles a bipedal coelacanth fish. It has 2 dorsal fins, 2 pectoral fins, and 2 pelvic fins, and also a long thick tail which the Geographics uses to swim with incredible speed. This creature also covers itself in mud and sludge. Geographics is capable of spitting projectiles of mud out of its mouth. As soon as they hit a target, the stamina will drain way faster than usually, and their movement will be slowed down as well. Geographics often feeds on fish of different kinds and sizes, but it's also capable of killing small to mid-sized herbivores such as the Parasaur or the Stegosaurus. Even though this fish wyvern has the ability to breathe inside as well as outside of the water, it needs to stay inside of the water for most of the time. During the day it can only go on land for only 2 hours because of the burning sun. During that, it will rest near the shores to take a sunbath or to hunt some of the smaller herbivores that live here. If we follow the stream even further, we can see that it ends in the ocean. The water here is deep enough for most ocean creatures to swim inside the canyon. Some of them will be eaten by the carnivores that live there, such as the Spinosaurus. Near this canyon entrance is a massive swamp, much larger than the one near the castle at Viking Bay. It's a massive wetland made out of mud, water, and some plants, but the other half is overgrown with massive trees. One of the herbivores that live in this unique environment is a large stegosaur known as Chunkingosaurus, an intimidating creature. Despite its passive behavior, it is one of the most deadly herbivores that lives on this island. The large spines on its back are its defense. They will reduce damage and damage back. When a creature attacks them, the attacker will end up with an impaled mouth. The tail of the Chunkingosaurus is adorned with vicious spines, as well that is equivalent to a natural halberd or glaive. This deadly and brutal weapon can deliver devastating strikes, and if that's not enough, the entire creature is venomous. Pretty much a large Kentrosaurus mixed together with a lion. The spines of Chunkingosaurus contain a deadly venom used as a self-defense. The same glands are inside of the tail spikes as well, allowing it to constantly pump this venom into its attacker in either passive defense or aggressive assaults. The Chunkingosaurus has a strong bond with their herd mates, like their smaller relative, the Kentrosaurus. But if they're not getting attacked, they're very friendly and spend the time with feeding on the surrounding plant life. They especially like the poisonous plants such as plant species X that can only be found in the swamp. One of the biggest carnivores that lives here is the Oxalia, a Spinosaurus relative. Oxalia might look like an aggressive, ferocious predator, but it's not. Oxalia is a surprisingly passive creature. Just like most herbivores, Oxalia doesn't want to be bothered. If you don't mess with it, it won't mess with you. Despite its size, it is quite lightweight. And it is not the strongest in point of physical strength. Since it's not the strongest predator, it uses its size to scare off smaller creatures. Oxalia rather steals food from other carnivores, and thanks to its size and appearance, it can easily scare off most creatures. But if something attacks it, Oxalia is not a pushover. Despite its size, it is fully capable of unleashing strikes much faster than any other creature of its size. and its bipedal stance grants it impressive mobility for a creature of such size as well. Unlike other large carnivores, Exalian knows when it's about to lose a fight. And if that's the case, it will use its agility to pull a tight turn and run away. Another big carnivore that lives here is the giant crocodile known as Sarcosuchus excubitor, a relative of the even bigger Deinosuchus that we've seen a couple episodes ago. The Sarcosuchus spends most of its time lazily wading in the water for prey to walk near. Sarcosuchus is one of the fastest swimming creatures that lives on this island. It is not fast on land, of course, but it can kill some of the smaller and slower creatures that live in the swamp. Similar to the crocodiles that we have on Earth, it can grab its prey and do the well-known death roll. With this attack, they rip creatures apart. They also do that on corpses of bigger creatures to rip out massive chunks of meat. The jaw of this creature is so powerful that it can easily crush bones. This creature is capable of fighting Allosaurus and winning. But that's enough of this episode. Join us in the next one, where we will take a closer look at the other half of the swamp. We will also take a look at the mysterious floating tower, and of course, the creatures that live there. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Geographics. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Have a nice day, and I will see you guys in the next episode.